let's go ahead and hit up our top 10 power rankings for week 6. We're very rapidly. What's up?
Where's the intro music?
I don't have any intro music for this one, dude. I'm sorry.
God damn it, Jacob. I'm going to put you in the doghouse.
Yeah, all right, bro. We're very rapidly approaching, only a couple of weeks away from the trade deadline, halfway through the season. Once we hit that week 8, it's going to be exciting to talk about. We already have some trade news before the trade deadline to talk about in this segment. So, or not in this segment, but in today's show. So definitely going to be exciting. But before we get into any of that, for our week 6, we're going to go and hit up our power rankings. Spoiler alert, if you watched last week's rankings, my rankings are going to be too much different just because a lot of these teams either were on bye week or they all won their game. So it's kind of hard to reshuffle them around, just in my opinion. So for just missed the cut, Drew, who just missed the cut right outside your top 10?
I had a team that I have been really high on since the off season. They debuted in my power rankings 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately have fallen out. It just comes down to, at this point, I'm trying to get ahead of the curve a little bit and seem smarter than I am as into what's to come. And so coming in at 11th, really 10.5, coming in at 11th this week is the Washington Commanders.
Okay. Yeah. So you said what's coming was their schedule pretty rough coming up?
I just think the Commanders, if you put them against all these teams in the top 10, that they're expected to take the L. They played a really good team this week, and it was competitive-ish. But if we were thinking, if this was the Bills that played the Ravens, if it was the Chiefs that played the Ravens, the Lions, the 49ers, any of these teams, we were just like, wow, the Ravens kind of handled that ass. Like, we would drop those teams also. We're giving the Commanders credit because they stuck around and made it competitive, but that's not, we don't give teams in the top 10 credit. Teams in the top 10 need to win, especially against other teams in the top 10. So I had to drop the Commanders out. I'm anxious to get him back in because I love Jayden Daniels. I've been on it from the start with him. I think he's going to be a fantastic quarterback in this league, but they came in at 11th for me.
Yeah. You and I already had this discussion about missing out on this team and having a hard time putting them in because everyone else in front of them, except for one team, won this week. And that's the Niners, still sitting at my 11th spot. I just couldn't slide them back in. The 10th spot won, the 9th spot lost. But the rest of the guys in my 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, all 1, 3, 1, and then 1 and 2 ended up going on bye week. So, it was kind of hard to slide them in when I already had them out. For you had the Niners in last week, so it wasn't hard to keep them in or move them up the board at all. So it was a little bit difficult for me to slide them in there. So they just missed the cut. Wouldn't be surprising if they end up moving up. Actually, they move up pretty significantly if they win next week. So next week's gonna be a little bit exciting to see how that one runs because it's definitely gonna be a big change in the power rankings.
Fuck the Chiefs.
If the Niners win and the Vikings win, the Vikings will actually end up finally supplanting the number 1 spot because the Chiefs have not moved off of that since our preseason ranking. So again,
I'll tell you what,
at that one.
If the Niners win and the Vikings lose, there still might be a new number 1.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. Sitting at the number 10 spot, I have the Green Bay Packers. Who's your number 10?
Who do the Cowboys play this week?
We're on bye week.
Oh, okay. I don't have to buy a hat this week then. That's good. Coming in at number 10, I have the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Yeah. So they ended up picking up. I'm on the wrong thing.
Come on, get your act together.
I know. Go ahead and pick it up while I get the correct thing up.
Why don't you hit the clock thing like you did to me when I was searching something up?
No, dude. See, I already have it. What are you talking about? So, Packers ended up picking up a win against Arizona Cardinals, 34-13. It was kind of nice to see Jordan Love and this offense actually pick themselves up a little bit. Romeo Doubs coming back into the lineup and then picking up 2 touchdowns immediately. So that was kind of cool to see him immediately be brought back into the fold. I think there was a lot made of what was going on with him in his kind of off the field disgruntledness, but I'm not sure if it was even that. It sounds like it was more mental health thing. So if that's really the truth, fully support him in that. And if he needed to take the week off for that, totally on that one. So they're at my number 10 spot. They look good. Their offense looked good. Next week is going to be pretty exciting looking at the schedule. They face the Houston Texans, who are going to be a lot higher in my power ranking. So a lot of changes to the top 10 with this matchup here. So the Packers and Texans, and we already talked about the Niners and Chiefs that are going to happen this week too. So that's going to be exciting for just 2 games. Going to be some shuffling around for that top 10 for sure. So
Oh, slight callback to the doghouse. Let's put the NFL in the doghouse by not flexing the Packers Texans game and instead making us watch the fucking Jets Steelers game.
oh, that's exciting. Oh, we get to watch Russell Wilson. Oh my
That's
gosh.
some bullshit watching Russell Wilson.
Aren't we just so blessed in life to be able to just get that?
I can already tell you right now, spoiler alert to next week when we put Mike Tomlin in the doghouse when their dumbasses lose to the Jets and Russell Wilson looks like shit.
Hey, dude,
We'll get there.
He's been, ready. He's been dressed in pads every single week, so you can't say he's not prepared.
Oh my God, I hated that so much. Yeah, the Packers, they finally look good this week. They've been winning. They haven't looked great, but they've been winning. So that's where they're at now. Obviously, Evan Williams, he's mentioned number 1 safety rate ranked in the PFF in the league right now, I think.
Oh, McKinney.
Evan Williams.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And then obviously McKinney has been. Did he get a pick this week?
No, I don't think McKinney got a pick this week.
All right, perfect. I took some flack for the under on that, but I'm just like, they're not going to throw to him anymore, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you better hope for that one. I'm just double checking to make sure that he didn't actually pick up a pick. There was a pick. Oh, it wasn't him.
Oops.
So I think you're actually solid on that one. So far so good. My number 9 spot is a team that just missed the cut for you, and it is the Commanders. Yes, they lost. They were 2 spots higher than this. They were sitting at the 7 last week, so dropped 2 spots, putting up a good fight against the Baltimore Ravens, who sit inside of my top 5 for my power rankings. So this is a team that's not supposed to be here. We all know that. And their upcoming weeks are going to be pretty laxed. The Panthers, the Bears, they have a interdivision matchup with the Giants. Then they have the Steelers, and then the Eagles, and then the Cowboys. I mean, it seems to be kind of cakewalky outside of the interdivision stuff. Their next real hard matchup, I would say, outside the interdivision stuff, is they have the Falcons, and that's like week 16. I'm not really worried about them. I mean, the Steelers defense with Jaden Daniels will be interesting to see. Just the rookie watch stuff is going to be fun. But outside of that, I think the Commanders are going to run away with the division pretty easily, and you're going to see it in the next 5 weeks. As soon as they pick up a couple more division wins, they're going to be pretty comfortable inside the top 10. I'm not sure what that's going to look like for the success in the playoffs, but for now, they're going to sit at the number 9 spot and probably going to move up just a little bit as the season progresses on. Who's your 9?
I went with the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, and I have them at my number 8.
Tell me why.
I think when it comes to we're already at that point. When it comes to the teams at 7-1, it's teams that are they're better than this team, and I believe in more at this point. And I know we had a conversation about a certain quarterback a little bit on a certain team that's going to pop up here really soon for me. I had some really early season concerns about the Falcons and struggling a little bit. They finally put a team away 38-20, I believe the score was for the Carolina Panthers, but it is the Carolina Panthers, but at least they finally put a team away. So I'm not really going to move them up too much. They beat that team, but they're like the worst team in the league or second worst team in the league. So they won. They sit the 8th spot. I can't move them any higher than the guys I have in front of them because I just believe in them a little bit more. And those other guys won by a pretty significant amount, or they're just way better teams. What about for
Fair
you?
Enough.
So they're at the 9 spot for you, right?
Yep.
Is it the same thing for you?
What?
For them sitting at the 9 spot, is it just like 1 through 8? The teams are just better. It doesn't come down to them being worse or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have the 49ers at number 8. Nobody's taking the Falcons to beat the 49ers. The 49ers are second in passing yards. They're third in rushing yards. They're second in total yards. They're a top 5 ranked defense. They're a top 5 ranked offense. They're first in their division. Their best player is hurt. One of their best defenders is hurt. Their safety's on the IR.
Yep.
It's just a lot has gone wrong early in the season for the 49ers. Their first round pick got shot in his chest and is back practicing. Everything's gone wrong for the 49ers. And here we are. They're in first place in their division. And they have a weakened Chiefs team. Now, I know the schedule, the record is the record, but this is not a full-fledged Chiefs team. They got a floundering Cowboys team after that, which is a get-right game for the Cowboys if they come out and thump the 49ers.
I think you just complimented us saying floundering.
You're welcome.
That might be the nicest thing you could say about us right now.
And then the week after that, they have a showdown with the team that I elevated to number 7, and that is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay,
so I know that's beautiful. I know that's going to surprise you, but so I went to go do a shit ton of research to explain to you why the Buccaneers are not a top 10 team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And in doing all that research to present an argument to you that they are not a top 10 team in the NFL, I moved them to the 7th best team in the NFL based off of that research. So I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in at number 7. They've scored the most points in the league this year, tied with the Commanders, which is super impressive.
Yep.
They have the top 3 best wide receiver duo in the league in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I mean, what are the arguments there? Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, maybe, or you're going to argue a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, there's a couple arguments to be made. The 49ers have a top 5, top 6 group, but then there's this guy on their team, and we already talked about him, but I don't know if you knew who Sean Tucker was before the game started. I don't think you did, because he had 7 fucking rushing yards the entire season. And then he explodes for 194 scrimmage yards. And frankly, when you got Baker Mayfield, a.k.a. Brett Favre, back there, and he's just going to huck the shit deep every single time, Cade Otton's out there. They're just doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're hella fun to watch. And when I look at a team that I'm afraid to play, the Buccaneers are on that list. So they go into 7 for me.
How could you not love Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now in this moment?
You could be a Browns fan. Oh, no, not a Browns fan. I'm sorry. I apologize. You could be the Browns owner. He doesn't like Baker.
Yep, that's probably what it is. I think we're going to find out. These next 4 weeks are super important to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super important. We're going to find out exactly who this team is by the time November 10th at about 1:30, when all of it's said and done, after all 4 weeks, we're going to find out who this team is. Next week, they have the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. Then they have the Atlanta Falcons, and they already had a great overtime matchup. So another fun interdivision matchup. Then they have the Chiefs, and then they have the 49ers. That's 4 weeks of tough teams who are all fighting for playoff spots, or pretty much guaranteed playoff spots at this point. So 4 weeks of just challenging teams. And then after that, they have the Giants, the Panthers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Panthers, and then the Saints. So a little bit of an easier schedule down the stretch to help them make a playoff push. But in terms of playoff success and how much we value this team, these 4 weeks are going to be the most essential to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers entire season. They did just beat the Saints 51-27. It's a great showing. Even with Baker not playing amazing in the first half, cleaning all that stuff up, playing fantastic in that second half. And again, 4 weeks, 4 matchups, all really important. We're going to find out who this team is very, very, very quickly. When it comes to the number 6 spot, once again, Drew and I both have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 7. At the number 6 spot, I have the Buffalo Bills. Not sure if you have same place, same exact place.
I think we're going to have a small movement here
between you and I. Yeah.
But for the most part, I think we're going to be locked in. The Bills remain at 6 for all the reasons said before. They won again this week, so you can't drop them lower than where they were at last week. They beat a team that's not that good, but it doesn't matter. You got to beat those teams. And they stay at 6 because the teams in front of them are winning also. So.
Yep. Next crucial game for the Buffalo Bills is going to be November 17th against the Chiefs. And then right after that, they're going to have the Niners. And then they also play the Lions this year, which is going to be a little bit exciting. They play the Jets once again. So that's going to be fun to watch to see how they kind of come out. But these next couple weeks are going to be kind of cakewalky from Titans. See how the Seahawks kind of fold up to see if they can even put up a fight. The Dolphins are the Dolphins. We'll see when or if Tua is going to come back. Hopefully he doesn't.
Mike McDaniel said he is.
Yeah, I know he did. I kind of hope they just kind of tank and just sit him for the whole year. Let him come back next year, tank for a top player in the draft, and then just move on to your next year. You already
If
have the
they're
dude
gonna
signed.
sit, if they're gonna sit Tua out and they're gonna tank, do you move Tyreek?
Yes. Yes. From what I've very, very lightly looked at for this wide receiver class, I would move him. So that would be my decision. So as much as Tyreek is fantastic, and that's maybe the only good thing happening for the Dolphins right now, yeah, you definitely get something in return for Tyreek right now. But yeah, so they just beat number 6 Buffalo Bills. They just beat the New York Jets as well. 3 points. Aaron Rodgers miscommunication with Mike Williams there at the end. 2 minutes left. Not sure how that's really going to go. A bunch of penalties. It was kind of a weird game. So it'll be a fun matchup to see it all come to fruition once again November 17th comes down to it. At the number
Shout out
5
to Mike
spot.
Williams. He's
Shout
kind
out
of a
to Mike.
trash can.
Yeah, that's fair. Who's your number 5 spot?
At the number 5 spot, I have the Jacob Taylor Super Bowl champion anointed Texans. They came out and beat up on a Patriots team that's not any good on any phase of the ball, and they did what they needed to do. Shout out to Tank Dell, who had his resurgence this week. He's been MIA all season with Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins doing that damn thing, and they went in. They got a dub.
Yeah, another great matchup for this week for in terms of power rankings is the Texans play the Packers this week. So another good one to see. So there's a lot. There's a lot to definitely to look at this week. This week 7 slate is going to be fun for me. The number 5 spot is going to be the Baltimore Ravens.
Hater.
I am not a hater. I am just a big believer in the Texans, who are higher, and then the Lions, who are higher, and then the other 2 teams who went on bye weeks. You can't really move them around. So Ravens go at 5.
Don't you think that the Ravens beating the Commanders is more impressive than the Texans beating the Patriots?
Yeah, but I'm high believers in them, and they whooped them, and they took care of business. They did what they needed to do.
So if the Texans played the Ravens this week, who would you pick?
I pick the Texans.
I
would. Coming up in the next week for the Ravens is they have the Buccaneers. They just came off of a win against the Commanders, 7-point win there. So again, we already kind of went over the game with the Bucs. It's gonna be really fun to see. Monday night matchup that might end up being the game of the week, but again, we've had like 3 or 4 games we're kind of keeping an eye on. The rest of the schedule looks kind of tough in terms of like a lot of their division games are always really challenging for anyone who's playing in the division. The Browns, Bengals, the Steelers, all 3 of them within the next 4 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see, but this Ravens team is really talented. We talked about it last week, Lamar Jackson, and how good he's been playing. 3rd MVP, potentially loading at this point. He's even better than last year, like head and shoulders above. He looks fantastic. He looks comfortable in this offense for the 2nd year in a row. So again, number 5 spot is going to be that Baltimore Ravens team for me. And then
I cannot wait for the Ravens Tampa Bay game.
It's going to be fun.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be a great game.
For your number 4 spot, who'd you go with?
The Ravens.
Okay, cool.
I mean, we can poll 100 people. Hey, is it the Ravens or the Texans? And it's probably somewhere split 50-50. So I can live with there. That's fine. Lamar's on his way towards another MVP. And if the Ravens and the Ravens and the Texans played tomorrow and they played 10 times, it would probably be a lot of split games. I'm not sure if I would be as confident as you are that the Texans take that home, but that's why I have them at 4 and you have the Texans at 4, and that's cool. That we're going to bounce that back and forth all year, I think.
Well, I have the Lions at 4, so.
Oh yeah, the Texans even higher.
Yeah, the Texans haven't moved from 3 in like weeks, dude.
Jeez,
they haven't moved. They were at 2 for a long time, and then they went for like a couple of weeks, and they moved down a spot for the Vikings. So Lions is sitting at the 4 spot. It's nothing to slide against the Lions. Obviously, their offense is churning. It's moving. Jared Goff looks good. J-Mo looks good. Amon-Ra looks good. The 2-headed monster in the backfield looks fantastic. Offensive line, fully fronted, ready to go. Everyone looks awesome. But I've been on this front for before the season started about the Texans, and I'm not going to hold off on it when they're winning games and they're beating teams, and the only loss is coming off of the Vikings, who sit higher than them. So for me,
You're not going to like this.
the Lions sit at 4. And then for you, I'm guessing Lions at 3.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, you moved a bye week team, huh?
I moved the Vikings down.
You moved the Vikings down. Okay, well, so you just run through the rest of your list 3-1.
Vikings, Lions, Chiefs.
And I went Texans, Vikings, Chiefs.
The Vikings are not a better football team than the Lions. That defense is playing lights out, but you're going to see it this week. Spoiler alert, I won't get too far into it, but Sam Darnold, he's been okay. He has not been good in recent weeks. He's come back down to earth a little bit, and we're going to see that fully manifest itself on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. I saw the Vikings and Chiefs there. Just because
in fairness, if the Vikings lose, they're dropping, correct?
They are dropping, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if Detroit comes out and beats the brakes off of the Vikings, like no team has done this week, and the Chiefs lose to the 49ers, you don't see a path to the Lions getting to number 1?
I'd have to see how the Texans beat the Packers to make that full decision. But yes, there's definitely a path, a very comfortable path to number 1.
There's going to be some power rankings shaking up this week.
There's a good game and every single dude.
What if the Buccaneers beat the Ravens? That's going to shake some shit up, because if the Buccaneers beat the Ravens, they might get into my top 4, because now they're kicking everybody's ass.
Yep. Yeah.
So, and I tried to leave them out this week. Good thing I didn't. I might look like a dumbass. They come out and beat the Ravens. Hey, how did you take them from 12 to 3? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, when it comes to the scheduling this week, I think that
shout out to the NFL.
The most insignificant one in the top 10 for me is the Panthers versus the Commanders. So see how that one goes. But Packers versus Texans, and then Bucks versus Ravens, and then you have the Lions. There's a lot going on this week, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see how it all kind of shakes out. Do you have anything else?
And even that game, Washington smashing Carolina. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
The other thing to keep an eye out on is we didn't go too far into our mist. I talked about leaving the Commanders out this week, but if Pittsburgh comes out and beats New York, they move to 5-2. That's going to be an interesting conversation to have. So,
absolutely. So, do you have anything else?
That 10 spot is going to fluctuate a lot this year, I think.
Yep.
So
I think I'm curious to see how much is even going to solidify by the time we even get to like week 12 to see how much people really solidify themselves as the concrete 10. I think there might be pretty solid shakeups from like 8 to 12, I think, depending on how things end up moving and shaking. But yeah, I would agree with that.